This episode is sponsored by Bluehost. You're an ideas person, and when inspiration strikes, it strikes fast. Shouldn't your web hosting keep up? When shared hosting isn't enough, Bluehost's advanced solutions scale with your website, business, and your ideas, no matter how bold. With NVMe storage, built-in security, and enhanced CPU power, sites load faster and handle more data than ever before. Bluehost's advanced hosting keeps you online and growing. So go ahead, keep those ideas flowing. Shop plans now at bluehost.com.
Some people build products, some people build platforms, and a few can't stop building tools, companies, and conversations that push an entire industry forward. You're listening to WP Legends, where we bring the builders, operators, and thinkers shaping WordPress and web hosting to the mic. Today, I'm joined by Konrad Keck, founder of Conrado.ai, Modules Garden, Panel Alpha, Easy DCIM, and more tools than most of us can keep track of, and the host of the amazingly candid hosting podcast, Conrad's Corner. Conrad started programming back in 2009, building custom tools for hosting companies long before automation, AI, and platform thinking were buzzwords. Since then, he's quietly become one of the most influential builders behind the scenes of the hosting industry, powering WHMCS ecosystems, data center automation, WordPress management platforms, and now AI-driven customer support. Along the way, Conrad also decided to turn the mic around, launching Web Hosting Today and Conrad's Corner, where he brings real, unfiltered conversations to web hosting leaders, founders, and operators. No fluff, no PR spin, just honest discussions about what actually works, what doesn't. Most recently, Conrad launched Conrado.ai with a clear philosophy. AI shouldn't replace people. It should make teams better, faster, and more human at scale. Today, we'll talk about building infrastructure products, automating hosting the right way, why most AI implementations fail support teams, and how Conrad sees the future of WordPress, hosting, and human-centric automation. Conrad, welcome to WP Legends.
Thank you for this amazing introduction. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Listen, I was very excited about this, okay? And I must tell you, like, we should have done this a long ago. It's just that, time, schedule, etc., whatever. And
Absolutely.
How does it feel to be on the other side of the mic, by the way?
Yeah. So as I said to you before we started, is that it feels a bit more stressful than being the host. I don't know. Maybe after you make a couple of episodes, you get used to it and you just ask questions and expect your guest to do the work.
I know.
Now I feel a little different. So yeah, but it's a great experience for sure.
I know, and I'm glad to kicking off the new year with some amazing guests, including yourself. But let's start with your journey. 2009, is that correct? When you started?
That's right. Yeah. So back in 2009, I started my first job as a programmer was I was a programmer at HostBill. It's a billing platform for web hosting companies. It's still around actually. It didn't got that popular. But it was a great product, and I was responsible for third-party integrations, modules, and custom development. And after 2 years after I left, I started looking for some freelance job and discovered that WHMCS, which is the most popular billing system for the industry, it's much larger. There's a huge demand, and there's basically no real competition providing high quality solutions. So pretty fast I was able to not only start as a programmer, but then I started hiring people, and we were just growing, and the rest is history.
That's amazing. And who came up with the name? It's Modular Garden, right? You came up with that name? Modules Garden?
I think so. I mean, it's we were doing modules, so let's do something with modules. It was Modules Garden. We already had like a very it was 2011, your first business, so you think, okay, let's make a garden out of that. I don't know. It's not. It wasn't very well thought, I guess. But
okay,
I always say that when you figure out the name of the business, it's just that your business brings the meaning to the name. It's not the other way. So try harding for a name of your business is not that important. It's that what you bring with that business that makes that name meaningful.
Yep, as long as it's easy to get going and the pricing is fair enough, yeah, I think I think we should be okay. But
Yeah.
looking back, okay, how much has changed, right, in the hosting world, especially when you started this, and WordPress was not that big now. Did you expect it to grow to the level that it is today? Let me ask you that.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty young. I was 21 at the time, and really things were just gradually and organically happening. So, well, I just remember that back in the days, what we were bringing to the table was some new approach to user experience. Back in the days, and we are talking 2010s, most of the hosting companies were just using the basic WHMCS plus, I don't know, cPanel, Direct Admin, Plesk stack, right? So you have your billing system, you have a traditional control panel, and that's it. And what we were trying to provide with our product, because initially we started with custom development, but later we started to make off-the-shelf modules. We had this strong positioning for trying to make things easier for the customer. I mean, if your customer is mostly just logging in, I don't know, to set up an FTP account, database, and email, why do you force them to go and log into these traditional, not that really user-oriented systems, right? So we try to put a lot of management inside a single platform, or we were trying to automate a lot of things. We were focused around automation, and I know now I think about it, it was pretty fresh in 2010 to automate I know, creation of different things across multiple platforms and making the management for these services easier for the end customers.
And you're the solo founder for Modules Garden? Are you the solo founder, or you have co-founders?
Yes, I am.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, you're doing a lot. You're doing a lot. So now, 2025, 2026, Panel Alpha happened, right? Or for 10 years you were just doing Modules Garden, or something happened in between?
So the thing is that we've noticed that with Modules Garden, although the company was still growing at the time, I thought that eventually, because it's like we were the sort of like a plugin developer for WordPress. It's just that WHMCS is a much smaller potential
market
audience.
size. Market size.
Yes,
Yeah.
So I already knew that. Well, we will eventually get to the
You'll
the
cap
maximum.
out. Yeah, you will cap out somewhere.
And so there's not that huge potential of scaling up just Modules Garden. And I always had in my head that, all right, Modules Garden is doing fine. Let's do other things, and let's try make our own solutions, make our own standalone systems. And I guess that's how we started. We started actually with EasyDCIM over 10 years ago. I think it was 2015. So the first big standalone platform that we released was EasyDCIM. So the platform that automates provisioning of dedicated servers. And then we've made also something called Metrics Cube, which is a SaaS business intelligence platform, mostly related to WHMCS, but as a SaaS, our first SaaS product. And I always had that in my mind, that we should just look for new opportunities with adding, because we had a pretty quickly growing customer base, and mostly from the web hosting. So let's make some other solutions for the industry and try to grow.
Panel Alpha, I've looked into it. By the way, to all of my viewers and audience, if you have not looked at Panel Alpha, I must admire the UI, the UX, the colors, the website as a whole. You are a product designer yourself, right?
I'm not a designer per se. I'm a product manager, product owner, I would say, in these projects. Yes.
But still, you can tell from a website, whether it's Conrado.ai, whether it's Panel Alpha, you can tell that, where you're coming from. Look at your background, your lighting, and the podcast setup. It speaks for itself.
I guess so, yeah. That's right, yeah. So maybe that I like to put attention into visual details. Yeah.
I know. I am not even close to like that. My co-founder Ryan is. He's the one who's really OCD about design and all of that. I enjoy it a lot, but I'm not like at 100% that level thinking capacity. At some people like my co-founder or you or the product designer world are. But anyways, back to Panel Alpha for a second. Who is Panel Alpha for? Is it for agencies? Is it for smaller hosting companies? If you can enlighten our audience about that.
Right. So Panel Alpha, in short, is a self-hosted control panel, like next generation control panel for WordPress hosting in general. But in terms of audience, it's not only for hosting companies; it's also for agencies. It's also for resellers. It's also for Actually, we plan a very big update in the next couple of months, so I can already tell that it will also be targeting anyone who just wants to host a WordPress site on their VPS or their own server.
Okay.
Because right now, if you look at these, let's say, legacy control panels, Panel Alpha will be up to a certain level, it will be even for free. If you just want a WordPress site on your VPS, then you can just go install Panel Alpha and have a very WordPress-oriented environment out of the box.
I see. I think the biggest use case I can see personally is like agencies who want to make money in hosting cleanly. Would you say? Smaller or medium agencies, would you say that in some extent?
It's actually a trend that we see, I would rather say it's pretty fresh that more and more agencies, I don't know if it's because of the AI trend or is this because during the COVID, everything just blew up and agencies were growing and then things have slowed down. But agencies have noticed that it's a good idea to not only make one of projects and then chase another projects and it's like never ending story, but maybe based on your customer base, you can build up this recurring revenue. And the best way to do that in this industry is to build some sort of hosting. There are a few approaches. There are obviously partner programs with other hosting providers, partner programs with solutions like WP Cloud, or if you have large enough team or you have your expertise, maybe you want to launch it on your own and on your own technology stack.
That's true. I've seen this in my experience also. Like us as an agency, we refer out to hosts usually, and we have like this directory, and we just say, listen, choose yourself. You choose the pricing. We recommend basis on your stack these three. And then it's the client's choice. But many times clients said, nope, don't want to think about it. You just do it. And I said, okay, cool. If you want us to host it, we're going to charge you $300 a year or whatever. And they're like, okay, cool. We're happy to pay you. And then it's just, so why not? That's the thing. And I think it's only going to grow. What would you say?
I mean, yeah. So I think exactly that when you make all these projects and you just, and you can, in time build up this recurring revenue. Sometimes you can just go on a vacation and not be worried what's going to happen next month. That gives you this level of comfort. And even if you have a worse time and less clients, you will have this base that you can build upon. In terms of I think it's more of a question how close relationship you want to have with your customers, and I guess every agency needs to answer it for themselves. Is it better to send your customers over to some other hosting company anytime? It's like at that point they will be their clients, right? Whereas if you build it on your own, then you make this closer relation with them and you are in more control over the product that you are selling. But at the same time, the downside is you need to know what you're doing. You need to learn how to make a hosting company, and it's also not that simple. So it's really about question what do you want to do, what level of expertise you have, what team you have, how big the scale is. There are multiple factors that you need.
And if you've evolved a little bit, then using tools like using the power of WP Cloud combined with Panel Alpha, whatever, you're technically your own hosting company in some way. Or you can use
I think like WP Cloud is like in the middle of it, right? So you can either send clients to the hosting company, you can build your own technical stack, and then you have WP Cloud, which is actually the guys from Automattic. you can expect that they know what they are doing, right? And the quality is also very, very high.
I'm a happy I'm a happy Pressable customer. I use WP Engine, I use Cloudways. Don't ask me why I use so many hosting companies. There's some secret things which we keep on experimenting with internally, and we host a lot of people, a lot of internal sites, etc. I'm obsessed with learning about hosting the managed WordPress environments, seeing which websites are getting hacked, not hacked, etc. So it's just a learning curve for me also. But I'm with you 100%. I'm with you 100% on this. That it's a great way for agencies, and I think more and more agencies, as they become evolved, especially smaller ones, single freelancers, two people, 3 people, 5 people, 50 people. It's a great way of earning revenue and controlling the relationship with the end user.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then let's not forget that there are options that if you offer hosting, maybe there are some other opportunities that you can offer extra services. You can upsell. There's plenty of things that you can do if you are in control of the product. So again, there are pros and cons, but we see as we speak with a lot of people, and with Panel Alpha, we see that actually I would say that maybe 50% of our clients are agencies that are trying to launch something on their own. So the trend is there.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Now, switching gears to Conrado.ai. Okay. Now, you've been very, very vocal and saying that AI should enhance, not replace humans. I believe you said this today on LinkedIn also. Yesterday?
Today I said actually something a little different. But yeah, that makes totally sense. So
yeah, I would love to understand the distinction. Why is it so important?
So I guess it's been over 2 years or 3 years since ChatGPT era began, and I think that some of us notice that it's not that AI is that perfect. AI is not something that can easily just replace what you're doing, right? You can expect that. Well, first of all, AI is not really an intelligence. It's more like a language model. It connects multiple dots together and try to get you a result, right? But it's not a real person, and it will never be. So yeah, I said that in that post that it's not that AI will replace you or anyone. It's that other people who are enhanced with AI will replace you. If you will not try to utilize it in a way that it makes you more efficient, then someone else will do that. So, and that's also, I think it applies very well to companies as for people. So if, I don't know about, agency, I can imagine that if you can automate a lot of processes related to sales, related to making first drafts. I don't know. I saw some projects that are converting Figma files directly into code. Right? There are so many solutions that you can adapt. I don't know. Generate 50 logos for your customer and try to figure out what he's looking for instead of trying to make a one draft. And you can change your process in the company. You can change the way that you're offering your services. You can make it more efficient. And for example, cut down the price by 30% and be more competitive. I don't know, maybe reach out to more customers, automate a lot of sales processes so you can find more deals, close more deals. There are so many ways that you can utilize AI. It's just naive to think that AI will replace people, but at the same time, it's silly not to see that AI has such a potential to make the world different.
Absolutely, 100%. I think we can have a 2-hour session just on this topic, one of my favorite topics,
exactly.
Right? But coming back to Conrado.ai, what is it all about? Because I couldn't get too much information besides the beautiful landing page and the beautiful logo and all of that. But it's in closed beta at the moment, I believe, right?
Thank you. Yes, it's in closed beta. And so as I said about the agency, we are as we are working closely with hosting companies. The thing about hosting, and also when you are an agency and you are considering making your own hosting, I think top 1 or top 2 thing in a hosting company is support. It's very customer centric industry. So what we wanted to build, because AI as it is right now is very effective in making text, and support is handled by text. So we wanted to build something that makes people more effective. And just to explain that, what I said, when ChatGPT got so popular, the first thought for many companies was to, let's make a chatbot for our clients, right? Because when they are requesting a support, let them use AI. It's going to be better and faster. In fact, it's not. We all know that. And I don't know about you, but whenever I go to a bank or something and I need some help and I see that there's AI chatbot, I get frustrated. I'm
annoyed.
It's so annoying.
Yeah,
I even made an article about it. It's called AI fatigue. When you see that there's an AI, you already want to just talk with people. Like, you don't even want to try.
I'm with you.
And it's basically because when you are forcing your users to use AI, you are shifting the responsibility to help themselves with AI. And I use AI on a daily basis, making posts for LinkedIn or whatever, and it's almost never one shot experience. I need to polish it. I need to fix it. And I know what I'm doing. Imagine now the customer who needs some assistance and they get a dummy AI that's trying to randomly help them without much context and information, right? So our approach was not to build a chatbot like all these companies do and they frustrate the people. Oh, and let's not forget, you still are paying the same for your service, but you don't get the same level of support because of AI in the between of you and the real people.
Good point.
It's not really that helpful, right? It's not changing anything. It's just making people more frustrated. So our approach was to build something that is not annoying people, and there's a huge potential of making people more effective that are handling support. So what Conrado AI is, it's not that it just generates responses, but it is also connected to your entire technology stack. So for example, with a hosting company, when a user has an issue with their website, Conrado AI is actually checking what's happening with the website. It logs in, it checks maybe there's something with their billing in the billing system. It connects to the server and checks maybe there are some settings turned on, turned off, or maybe they run out the disk. If there's an issue with an email, it checks if the settings are properly set, etc., etc. So we have those hundreds of checks that it's doing, collecting all the information, and then being able to be much more effective than all these on the surface solutions that only rely on knowledge base, right? So it checks what's actually happening with the service of the client and therefore making it more effective.
Got it. I was about to ask you, like, how's it different from like the likes of Drift or Intercom, but I believe you've answered that question already. It truly goes deep into the infrastructure level and a lot of things, right?
Yes, it's deeply integrated, and our approach was it's more like a co-pilot for support team. That's the first level that you get when you, so first you, unfortunately, there is no and probably won't be like fully self-service option because we need to help onboard every customer. We didn't figure it out at least until now. So you come into us, we load your internal knowledge base, external knowledge base. We connect Conrado AI to your services, to your systems. And then you need to train, and we help you train your support team to use it effectively because people are like, you need to break the old habits of your support team.
True.
You need to make sure that they are using it. It's a little different workflow, not that much, but still. And then that's the first level that your team is more effective when using it because they can go to the support ticket, they get automatically generated options that they can send. Plus they have a very detailed summary what's going on with the service related. And the second level is that for some part of the tickets you can configure how much you want it to work, but there is instant automatic response to the customer. So imagine you go to the hosting company and you have an issue with this and that. If it's a simple issue, it's going to reply to you right away. Instead of waiting, I don't know, even 10, 15 minutes, but there are companies that are, for example, not providing support during the night. As a customer, you get a response right away, right?
Good point. So who's this for exactly? Is it only for the hosting companies or is it like for other companies also?
No, it's not. We started with hosting companies, obviously because we have such a large client base.
Of course.
Let's just start with that. And especially that hosting is that customer oriented, this customer service oriented. But it's not really limited. The limitation is maybe the third-party integrations. But when the new company is approaching us and they say, I don't know, we are using this system, we are using Autotask or whatever MSP is using Autotask, for example, we can integrate with Autotask to get the data from, and then it all connects.
So it kind of complements the hosting company's customer support reps in a very big way. They don't need to refer to the knowledge base. It eliminates the need for that in some way.
To some extent, yes. Yeah. So the idea is that your support team will be 30-40% faster on responding to the customers.
Yeah.
On top of that, you can filter out 10 to 20% just support tickets that customers have just easy topics to cover.
I see.
There's also something that if they are specifically having a technical issue that someone needs to do, it makes you a to-do list, what to do to help this customer. It's like multiple angles that it approaches to just make it more effective. Yeah.
Got it. I wonder who came up with the name Conrado.ai. Whose idea was that?
No idea. Just random. Yeah, no, but the funny thing actually about this name,
it must be over beer. It must be over beer with some friends or somebody, or I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Some people called me Conrado sometimes. I don't know. Especially guys from Spain, right? Conrado, or something, and it ticked. But I used to be the technical guy. Gradually, when I started making all these projects, I needed to learn marketing and things like that. And I think that's one of the best ideas I ever had, because people are remembering
it's really cool.
Listen,
it's really cool. It's easy to remember, because if people don't know you and they listen to the name Conrado, it looks like a tech company, something, whatever, right? It just sounds like it. So that's very, very cool. And did I forget any other business? Of course, most important, Conrad's Corner. So you decided.
Yeah, exactly. It's very easy to remember right away.
Yeah. So you then decided last year, right? Or 2023 to move to the web hosting today. How was that born? How did you come about with that idea? Was it just passion? Like blogging turned into a website model? What was the idea behind web hosting today, by the way?
Well, that was one of the ideas we had so I founded Web Hosting Today with my friend Łukasz, with whom we are working on some of the projects, like we have Admin Bolt, for example. But we were talking about, I think it was some holiday that we were just brainstorming what we can do with things. And one of the ideas was, there's no good news website about what's happening in the industry. I mean, we are in this industry. There are so many things that happen, acquisitions, things about, new products and things like that. And there's no clear source of information other than the outdated things like Web Hosting Talk or some really press release based websites that you don't want to read. It's full of uninteresting things. So we thought, okay, what about we make a news site that is free of bullshit? I don't know if you want to censor it or not.
No, not at all.
This bullshit that, free of press releases, but full of actual insights on what's going on. That's something that we would want to read about the industry. And then on top of that, we came with an idea. You know what? Let's try a podcast. There's no podcast about web hosting. At the time I was making some research, I'm not sure if you were active by then, but
no, I wasn't.
Yeah.
I'll talk about that in a second, though. But yeah,
there was nothing. There was really nothing. So I thought, okay, let's do it, and I just did. The funny thing is that it was completely new experience. So setting up the studio, buying camera and things like that. I'm a technical guy, so I was really browsing through that was my new thing that I was doing, more like a hobby than an actual business.
But I must say, and to all of my viewers, like if you go to webhosting.today, the information, the content pieces, and how quickly you and your team are doing it is incredible. I must compliment you, and I use it as a resource also. My team uses it as a resource as well. We are proud supporters of webhosting.today also, because
Absolutely,
I see the value in it. So keep on doing the incredible job with your team. I think is fabulous. I must say that, it's a cool name, obviously spot on and hyper focused. one thing which I truly love, and I think in the industry, because on LinkedIn, I'm sure we get approached by people looking for a job, etc. So the job section, I think that's really, really cool, and the upkeep for that also I know would be tough, but I think that really helps the entire industry as a whole. People looking for jobs in the web hosting ecosystem, and I think you will do wonders with that as well. But I believe there's an M&A section as well. Is there something? Is there some secret sauce, something behind it also for the M&A? Some idea behind it?
Right. Yeah. Well, so the portal started with just news and podcasts, and then we were gradually growing it. I think that and thank you for supporting us for sure. That's a big thing that means a lot to us. And the job market is also attracting a lot of traffic for sure. So gathering people. I think that essentially what web hosting today became is a hub for the industry. We are gathering people together. We are making a community, and now we also have these events that we do. So whenever there's a big event for the industry, like WordCamp or CloudFest, we do our own gathering of the people from the industry. And literally it started that we just invited people for a late beer. And we invited like 20 people, and 50 showed up. It was so crowded. We were actually we thought we were going to be kicked out from the place. So we feel that we are building some sort of community because the industry is relatively small and people know each other very closely. There's no like a hard rivalry between the companies. It's more like the people just know each other, and it's very chill atmosphere, I would say. As for M&A, the question that you've asked is so one thing that is very active in this industry is M&A, acquisitions, big
consolidation,
buying others, consolidation, exactly. And we thought that we could actually help companies to decide, because there's no clear source of information, and we just wanted to help companies to decide, is it a good moment to sell or not, how to prepare for sale. We have access to hundreds of potential buyers and sellers, so we can connect them together, but also help if you are selling your company, many of people are treating it like it's their baby. So it's not easy for them to let it go, but at the same time we want them to feel that they've chosen well, right? If you didn't sell your company before, you probably don't know even what to do, how to start, and that's what we are trying to help with these companies. We are helping to get the best deal for you. Actually,
I hear you.
Multiple models, there are multiple ways how to do it, and we are advising them on that.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll do very well over there also, because no doubt about that. There's so many. I didn't realize till very recently that what is the sheer number of small hosting companies all over the world. With 100 customers, 300 customers, 600 customers, 3,000 customers, South America, Asia, you name it. And so many of them must be either struggling or maybe want to get out, maybe don't want to get out, but I'm pretty sure that. So yeah, I think the focused approach with the hosting ecosystem with webhosting.today and Conrad's Corner podcast. I started, so my funny story, very, very quickly, I'll tell you, is like I started with, I think 3 or 4 episodes last year. Then I had a baby, so got busy. And then Seahawks was keeping me super duper busy. And then sometime this year, I was just with Ryan, my co-founder, who I am not ashamed that I speak with more than my wife also, but that's how great businesses are built. And he was like, why do you stop that? Why are you not doing this again, whatever? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I'll just be rebooted again. And something in my mind, I'm like, okay, let me just start doing it again. And let me just call some friends and whatever, because I know people in plugin spaces sector. I said, okay, let me go it again. And I don't know, people were giving me the support, so I kept on going, just like you. So
yes, although it's for me, for example, it's more like a not usual thing that I do on a regular basis. I try now to. I've learned that it's better to have like a recording season, like you said. It's like for
I'm gonna do the same
weeks. And then Conrad, you have a break and you can focus on making the business, because it's very
time consuming.
It's distracting a lot. Yes,
it is indeed. I've actually blocked out a couple of days on my calendar also. I have to focus on it. So please, guys, if all the viewers in the WordPress ecosystem, domain ecosystem, plugin world, whatever, if you are watching, like us, subscribe to both of us. We're just trying to help you out. This is not our main business. Believe, and there's a
Exactly.
lot of pain and a lot of work. Trust me on this. Okay.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. I can relate to that for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Now, before we come up on time, I want to ask you this, and it'll be fun for you to give me these rapid fire answers. Okay.
Okay.
What are some hosting companies you can quickly think of which you truly admire? Could be for any reason, for their branding, their performance, etc. Some hosting companies which you truly love and admire. You can think of, give shout outs to.
Just shots, or should I explain?
Sure, up to you. Go for it.
Okay, so Hostinger, GoDaddy, hosting.com,
Mm.
and maybe Namecheap. Yeah.
Yeah. Good names. Very, very good names.
Big names. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
They're all very big names, no doubt about that. And a lot of them actually do their own thing. Hostinger, for example, I use Hostinger also. I think my dad's business, I've set it up on Hostinger or something like that. And they have their own panel, and it's pretty straightforward. The H panel, for example, which they use, they call it the H panel. So everybody has their own thing. And I think I was discussing once with what do you think about GoDaddy though?
I do like GoDaddy because they are so the thing. Hostinger and GoDaddy are sort of in the same league in terms of thinking about hosting more as a product than just like it was 20 years ago. That's something that happens a lot in this industry, is that your company grew for 20 years and you still have the same mindset, whereas the times are changing and you need to be very fast and you need to think about your customers, what they actually need, rather than using the standard technology stack. You need to move forward with the product. So Hostinger is very innovative and they push a lot of new things, and it's all very exciting. But given that GoDaddy is so huge, it's much bigger than Hostinger, as far as I know, much bigger. And it's a publicly traded company with a lot of corporate layer on top of it.
True.
And they are still able to, like the Aero, GoDaddy Aero.
Was everywhere. It's stalking me on Instagram and YouTube.
They were literally the first guys, one of the first guys in the entire industry to introduce AI. Like if you were a small company, you can be much more flexible. You can have,
I didn't realize that.
Work on this. But then Aero popped up almost like, I don't know, it was a couple of months in when the ChatGPT era began. So they very quickly were able to identify the direction, and they were very fast in execution. Which is not usual for a very large company. I must admit, they are very impressive in this regard.
Yeah, I must say that that's true. The one thing, who said that on my show? Igor, from Cloud Linux, our investor. Okay, he said like GoDaddy because they're great at localization, especially when they go to new markets. That's also very true. Because I remember when I was, now I live in the UK, but before that I was in India. And I remember when they launched in India.
Oh yeah, they're very strong in India, right?
Everybody got to know what GoDaddy is. Everybody got to know what a domain is and hosting is because of GoDaddy. Because you know what they did? They hired the number one cricketer in India at that time.
Cricketer.
Cricketer.
Okay. The cricket is very popular on there.
Cricket, right? Cricket is like like religion in India. It's like religion. Okay, so I don't watch cricket too much. But they just got him as the brand ambassador. It happened in front of my eyes because we shared the same office at a WeWork in India. It is crazy how they do. I just brought about this topic mainly because it's all related to hosting and stuff like that. And I remember the localization part, and I wonder and I see the pain point and struggles of a lot of hosting companies going global with taxes and compliances, etc. And then just out of curiosity, do you think there could be a simpler way for them to go global, other hosting companies who want to go global? Because I looked at the WHMCS ecosystem, WebPros ecosystem sector. Every host struggles to do with this. Are there some tools like that in the market? What advice would you give them?
Do you mean to go local?
Global.
Local?
To go global. If there's a hosting company, let's say they're in the UK or in the US and they want to expand their offerings. Yeah, like in Asia or whatever. What advice would you give them?
Well, I guess hosting.com could be asked because they went global, but they went global on through acquisitions. That's definitely one of the angles. And but you need to have an access to capital to execute that effectively. Well, that's a good question, because actually I had a discussion recently. I think it was with Arthur from Extendify. Is that actually staying local gives you much more, right?
Really?
So if you are local, you are much closer to your customers, and that what will retain them. Whereas if you go global and you compete with already established global brands, it's not that easy. I don't know if there's a simple, other than putting a lot of money into marketing. I don't think there is an easy way to do that right now.
Right?
It's pretty
It's not. It
saturated.
doesn't exist, right? Isn't it true? Because I was speaking with some hosting companies, not too big, not too small, in between the other day. About pro services and some other stuff, whatever. And they're like, we're thinking of expanding. They're based in Netherlands or Belgium, for the life of it, I can't remember. But and they said we want to expand to Malaysia because my wife is from Malaysia and I see the opportunity there. But the problem is taxes and compliances and this and that and language, whatever. I was like, really? It is tough. It is really tough.
It is tough. It is
Yeah.
tough. The thing that comes to my mind is that, I to be honest, I think it's better to just stay local. If you ask me, if you don't have like a
your
huge
personal opinion.
investor to just
Yeah, yeah.
expand,
Arthur
I
knows
don't
a
think
lot.
it's that.
Arthur knows a lot. He's with Extendify. He works with a lot of hosting companies. So of course he's talking to a lot of hosting companies also. He must have figured it out also. I'm pretty sure about
Oh
that.
no, sorry. I know what I wanted to say. I know maybe
Yeah.
we will edit it out, but I know what I wanted to say.
Hmm.
So last episode of my second season was I spoke with Vlad from Scala Hosting. Not sure if you've seen it, but the guys are from Bulgaria and they were local initially.
Hmm.
They were very recognizable as far as I understand in Bulgaria, and then they went global. But they went global with a very high quality. They had their niche actually. They went for a very high quality managed services that they are now very very familiar of. It's famous about. So it's, I think, like, even if you go global, you need to find your niche. You cannot just go and say, I'm a shared hosting company, come to me, because that is a saturated market. But if you can find your unique selling point, your uniqueness, and then go global and try to scale it up, I think that is an angle.
That's a
to
very,
think about.
very good point. That's a very good answer, because I think only then you will make some noise. You will break the market, even if you don't have
Yes.
too much capital. But if there's something very unique you can offer, yes, I think that's a good one. And yes, Vlad from Scala, I saw that episode. He's been on WP Legends as well. His episode goes out in a few weeks. And you mentioned the word Bulgaria. We'll touch on that for 1 second also, because, and this is a funny joke I bring about whenever I speak with somebody who's in Bulgaria, that what's happening there? What's in that country that everybody's deep into hosting and infrastructure?
I
Do
know,
you know
right?
what?
I even asked Vlad about it, and he didn't know. He didn't know the answer. I think it's just some sort of, like, I guess early in the days of hosting, they figured out that they can make money.
No, I know the
globally
answer.
with hosting.
I know
think
the
that's
answer.
thing.
No, I
What's
know
the
the
answer
answer.
then?
I know the answer. I'll tell you what. When kids are born there, they're given a Mac and said, listen, go into set up a server, do this, do that.
Okay, that would make sense a lot. Yeah,
You're in Poland, right? You're in Krakow. Where are you
that's
based out
right.
of? Yeah.
No, not near. Yeah, let's say New Krakow. Yeah.
Okay. This is a funny joke I had with somebody also. Like, Poland has one of the best UI talent in the world. I think so, because I look at Dribble and look at the design talent, etc. One of my own in-house UI designers, also based in Poland and whatever, like one of the best UI design talent. And this is the same joke I said. When kids are born there, they're given a Mac and said, here, start working with Figma.
There you go.
So, but anyways, and most importantly, I want to ask you, you see so many WordPress plugins in the ecosystem, etc. Any WordPress plugins which you truly admire? Let me ask you that.
WordPress plugin.
Speed, security,
Yeah,
contact
okay.
form.
I wasn't expecting this one. We are using WordPress a lot ourselves to some extent. I would say Yoast. Like, I think I cannot imagine using WordPress without it. So that's the first thought I have in my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the best SEO plugins in the whole world, no doubt about it. Owned by Bluehost now. Before that, it was Yoast Devak who owned it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they keep on upgrading it a lot, and yes, they're doing a fabulous job with Yoast, no doubt about it. Any other speed performance plugins, contact forms, anything else you can think of?
I try not to get that deep. So whenever we are working on a
Yeah.
WordPress, I no longer like manage the. I don't
My
know. I
team-
want to have a form on my website. I don't care what plugin are
I
you going to
I
use.
bring
yeah.
up this I bring up this subject sometimes because it's crazy how many people come to us for maintenance, and we look at the first thing we look at is the contact form setup, because 80%, sometimes 9 out of 10 websites, the contact form doesn't work. If it works, the clients are not getting emails. Can you imagine? That's the WordPress. That's the beauty and not beauty. Well, it doesn't work. That's why they come to us. So my business is growing up because of that. So but I think the WordPress ecosystem is becoming better. The code is becoming better. Everything is becoming stronger. I just hope it just something's very necessary. They
should be in the
take shape.
core. You think?
Yeah. I think WordPress 7 is about to come in May or June. I think so, right? So
Yeah, I saw some news about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. That's also something that I had in a discussion recently. Is that the problem of WordPress is that WordPress isn't distributing WordPress. It's that the hosting companies are distributing it. It's one thing, but another thing is that if you really look at the website that you want to have, the functional website, like I just said, I need a contact form on the web hosting that today it's based on WordPress. You need to use some plugin. You need to use this and that. Like it's not centralized, which is having a lot of pros and cons. It's just about the people who know how to connect the dots that make it happen.
Yeah. And finally, what are some hosting metrics which truly excite you personally?
Excite me?
Whether it's the number of unique users, managed WordPress downloads, what? I don't know. You tell me.
Well, I have two. Obviously, one is retention and keeping an eye on your retention. I think is one of the crucial things, because if you look at your retention and it's pretty low, you need to find the reason why, and then you are starting to think about your user, and then you are starting to think about your product and every part of the experience and when they are dropping, and that's how you can improve your company. I would say that's one thing. But another thing kind of related to that, I would say, is service utilization. So if you are selling your services as a hosting company, it's if your customer won't set up a website, won't set up the service, they will churn. So in the short term, they will churn if the website is not set, or they didn't migrate from another provider. I think that's something that's missed. There are much more customers that already have an account and they are migrating over to you. That there's a huge potential in that. But also, if you monitor what they are actually doing with their service, they are sending hundreds of emails every month or every week, for example. Maybe there's a potential you could upsell a better mailing tool. Maybe there is a lot of if you are good at monitoring what your users are doing with their service, it unlocks a lot of potential of your company.
That's a good one. I agree 100%. Anyways, on that note, thank you so much for being on WP Legends. We'll end the show here today, Conrad. We need to do this again sometime. It's fun.
For sure. I'll invite you to my podcast. As we said before, we will not overlap that. So probably in the middle of the year, you will get your episode with us.
Yeah. Looking forward.
Pleasure.
Looking forward to it. Yeah. And I'll hope to see you at WordCamp in Poland, which is the fun part. You must be excited for that.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. We were planning something big. Are you going to CloudFest?
I think so. Maybe 50-50. I have some issue with travel, sector, whatever in that time, but I'm going to try my best. I try not to miss any CloudFest or WordCamp stuff.
So for our industry, CloudFest is the bigger one, but it's super busy. It's super intense.
I know.
But whereas WordCamp, we will. I can wait for WordCamp in Krakow actually. So really.
Yeah, you just need to drive this time. You don't even need to fly.
Exactly right. Yeah. Last time our baggage was lost. It got stuck. We couldn't get our merch to the booth that we actually had with Panlafa in Basel. So now it will be much easier. Yeah.
All right, super. Wish you the best of luck, and I'll speak with you very soon. Thank you so much, Conrad, for being on my show.
It was a pleasure. Thank you, man.
Nice to see you. Bye.